Am I the asshole for leaving my friend's dog at a dog shelter after she abandoned him at my home? I am 35 female. I have a friend, 32 female, who asked me to dog sit her poodle for 2 weeks while she was on vacation with her husband. I had some rough batches with this friend before, but she paid me before had to take care of her dog, and my house is big, so I agreed. I really like dogs, I had many throughout the years, and now I have one good golden boy named Dorado. But I really hated this dog, peed everywhere, was destructive, picked up fights with Dorado, felt entitled to my food while having a full bowl untouched, and even shitted on my bed. Out of all the places he could shit, decided to shit on my bed. After 2 weeks, I called my friend, expecting her to be back in town and come get her little monster back. She never answered, no text, no social media, nothing. After trying to reach her on Instagram, I got blocked. I waited for her to appear in front of my door, but that never happened. I called her husband, also ghosted me. After 10 days of being ghosted, I had enough, went to a shelter, and dropped the dog there. They won't accept pet dogs into the shelter, so I said it was a stray dog. I finally had peace at home, and 1 week later, my friend called me, saying that she was coming back for her dog. I blow up at her, asking where the hell she was, and that I got tired of waiting, so I dropped the dog at a shelter. She started fighting with me over the phone, saying that it was unfair, that I was putting her dog on danger, and that I could just have waited a little longer. I sent her the shelter address, and some days later, she said that was going to sue me because she had to buy her dog back. This shelter doesn't sell dog. Maybe she was charged an adoption fee. She is making my life so much more dramatic right now. Maybe I should have waited a few more years? Was I wrong for what I did? One time I was babysitting a kid for about 2 weeks. When the parents were supposed to pick him up, they vanished and blocked me on all forms of communication. Finally, 10 days after the pick-up date I called CPS and the kid was taken away. My friend reached about a few days later and blew up at me. Does this help? Not the asshole. They ghosted you. Ghost them back. Block her number. You are not the asshole. Cut off all contact with her and her husband. Not the asshole. You waited 10 days longer than the time you agreed to watch the dog. You tried to reach out to her and her husband and received no response. She sounds like a terrible friend and a terrible pet owner. Am I the asshole for eating whatever I want in the house? I am 51, live with my wife, 49, and 3 kids. A girl 24 and 2 boys 21, 14. I paid the mortgage, I pay the bills, I pay for groceries. My wife works band, her money goes for our vacations and retirement. We are happy with this arrangement. She makes about $85,000 a year. I make more. My daughter has a job that she got after college. My middle kid works part-time while he is in school to pay for extras. All 3 of my kids will graduate their undergrad with no debt. I work weird hours and shifts. I am writing this at 3:30 in the morning because I just got home. There was a note waiting for me on the fridge berating me for eating a box of firecracker shrimp I found in the freezer and made myself for supper yesterday. Apparently it was something my daughter had bought for herself. There wasn't any note on it in the freezer or anything. This isn't the first time this has happened. But I think it will be the last time. I am thinking of talking to my wife and asking her to tell my daughter that anything in the freezer or fridge that isn't labeled as fair game. Or that she has to start paying for all of my groceries that she consumed. Because she does not buy the basics. She eats all the groceries that my wife buys. I don't really have a problem with her living here rent-free and eating my food while she saves money. I have a problem with he calling me an asshole for eating food I found in my freezer in my house. I should probably add that in the past I have found out that, more than once, food she got, actually just meant food that she added to the grocery list that I paid for and her mom shopped for. AITA. Edit. To answer a bunch of common questions. Just spoke to my wife and daughter. The shrimp was purchased by my wife using our budget. It was frozen shrimp, not takeout. My daughter has now agreed that if there is food that she purchases with her own money she will label it and I will not eat it. And I will make sure that the boys know as well. As for rent, I still want her to save her money. Kids have it hard enough these days. Info: why are you incapable of having this conversation with your adult child yourself? Asking your wife to speak to her is ridiculous. Not the asshole assuming your wife does at least some of the grocery shopping. How are you supposed to know that the shrimp was hers? Of course you have to eat food from your own kitchen. Just talk to your daughter about putting her name on something if she bought it special for herself. I'm not clear on why you are asking your wife to do that rather than you. Not the asshole. I think that if there is no note on the food, you can eat whatever you find in the fridge, freezer. Don't expect your wife to talk with your daughter. Talk to her yourself. Am I the asshole for putting mistakes in my shared Google Doc notes? This is a throwaway account. I, 21M, am currently taking organic chemistry. Needless to say, the class is incredibly tough. Luckily though, I have been studying since day one, so I am doing all right in the class. I am taking the class with a group of friends, so to help them out, I shared the personal notes that I take in class with them via a Google Doc, and I encouraged them to invite anyone they know. Recently, one of my friends invited a friend of theirs, let's call her Jess, 20F, who I've never really interacted with, but I have a massive crush on. I think she and I would make a great couple, but she's not really into sensitive smart guys, because on her Instagram, I see all her stories show her out with really jock-like men. Our third exam is in a couple of days, and as I was going through the Google Doc, I realized that she was using my doc the most. You can see who looks at or edits the doc on Google Docs, and most of my other friends would pop up sometimes, but I would see her icon pop up a lot. I also know for a fact that she isn't doing well in the class, so I got a really good idea. I would put subtle mistakes in the doc so that she wouldn't do well in the exam, and then I can offer to tutor her. That way, I can interact with her and talk to her, so that she'll realize that I have a great personality, and we can hopefully go out together. I told my friend about this plan, and they called me an incel. Personally, I think they're overreacting, because Jess isn't going to do well either way, even if I don't put mistakes, so my plan will actually benefit her grades, while also allowing me to interact with her and talk to her. I think it's a win-win for everyone, but I was wondering if my friend may have been onto something, so am I the asshole? You are the asshole. This can't be real. Consider the following phrase. I like you, so I'll harm you, so I can save you, so you can view me as a hero. This is straight supervillain logic. It's like a more self-centered version of the plot to Unbreakable. So to be clear, you want to intentionally sabotage someone's grade in a course they're spending money on. Manipulate a woman into spending time with you. Use studying as a cover to hit on a woman who has shown no interest in you. Incel asshole is the right call, and I hope your friends warn this woman about you. You are the asshole. Edit for formatting. Is this the incel troll again? Or do you seriously think real life works like this? You are the asshole if this is real because you're trying to manipulate a girl into spending time with you. All because of feelings she doesn't share. It's creepy and stalkerish. Am I the asshole for leaving the thrift store with an item I paid for? I went into my local thrift and immediately found a piece of furniture I wanted. In the past, I've been through the furniture section and seen receipts attached to items saying that they've been sold already and are no longer available. That was not the case with this table. Stoked, I ask an employee to help me move it to the register so I can pay for it. A nice dude helps me out by putting it on a dolly and rolling it up front for me. I pay for it, and he starts pushing the dolly out to my car. Lady comes out of the store behind us and she is pissed. She comes up with a temper, yelling that it's her table that we're wheeling out to my car. Confused, because there was no sold tag on this thing, I ask her if she also paid for it. She says, no, but I told the manager I wanted it and she set it aside for me. I feel awkward at first and just kinda freeze there for a minute while she goes back in to get the manager. I considered going in and refunding it and giving it back. I did think about it. I actively decided that since I paid for it, I had essentially called dibs, and that the store manager should have had the woman pay for the item and put a receipt on the item as they've done in the past. So I look at the dude helping me lug this thing out to my car. He looks stunned and clearly is gonna wait to see what happens. I decide not to wait. I tell him I'm not gonna make him be any more involved and I just pick up my furniture and start walking to the car. As soon as I'm finished loading it into the car, the manager comes out with the woman. The manager asks me expectantly if I'm going to give the furniture back to the lady. I ask the manager if the lady paid for it. She says, no, but we did put it on hold for her. I told her there was no signage indicating it was sold, it wasn't moved off of the floor, and no one stopped me when I asked for help moving it and checked out. The manager then tells me that if I don't go back in and return the table, that I'm banned from this thrift store and to never come back. So I told her I'm sorry that her staff had made a mistake, but that I had no intention of returning the item I paid for, got in my car, and nope it out. I clearly upset this lady by not refunding and giving back this table. I feel bad that she was upset. But I did it anyway. I know I didn't commit a crime by taking a table I paid for, but am I the asshole? Should I have just given it to her? Not the asshole. This is how thrifting works. They're lucky that they have a policy of setting stuff aside or leaving a note on it. When I go to any type of quick sale process, I always tell a staffer and pay up front. Loitering and waiting with holds leads to situations like this. Also, the manager knew she made a mistake, and instead of owning it up to it and maybe giving the lady a 10% discount for this oversight, she threatened you with a ban? What a shitty way to do business. The manager really put you in a bad spot, basically making you look like a giant for their mistake. If they were going to hold the item, they should have indicated it somewhere or moved it to the side. I'm going say not the asshole, for you and the lady. She trusted the manager to adequately hold the item. The manager is a major not the asshole. The manager wanted you to hand it over to cover up her mistake of not actually putting the item on hold.